y'all. Decided to give this YouTube thing a shot. Turn that down a little bit. Decided to do his YouTube thing about this overdrive here. Don't think I've seen a YouTube video based on a Laycock D Normanville J-type overdrive from a 1986 Volvo 740 Turbo. This is basically my pride and joy out of the two cars that I do own. My other car is a 2000 Subaru Forester with a JDM STI kit on it. And a couple other things done to it, but this thing right here has my heart. It ain't got no air conditioning or anything of the sort, it still has my heart. This thing's been sitting since November, so it's dirty. I've been in and out of it a lot. A little walk around for y'all. $186,000 miles on the motor, I think. Still got plenty of life left. So, there's that. So anyway, I pulled the transmission out of this thing because the input shaft bearing had gone bad on me, and it was making a bunch of racket. All kinds of buzzing and all that crap. So I had to do something about that. Before that, I rarely drove it. I only drove it maybe just around the block or whatever, which isn't very far, of course. So I'm like, well, I got to do something about that. So let me see what I can do about it. So I decided to pull the transmission myself. I got it finished up, the 4-speed side of it, which is this thing right here. I got it done probably about 2 weeks before this video right here. And it didn't really dawn on me to do a video about it. I did one video prior to this one, but it was just crap. I couldn't really do anything with it. It was all over the place. Didn't have really any real structure to it. So I scrapped it and I'm trying again. But this is the 4-speed side of it. It is done. All resealed. New counter shaft bearings, new input shaft bearing, and output shaft bearing. All I got left to do on the transmission is the overdrive, and then I have to figure out a way to get it to spin while out of the car, because I want to do a pressure test on it. These overdrives run off of hydraulic pressure. I think this one in particular runs off of anywhere from 550 to 600 psi. It's a lot of pressure, and that pressure keeps everything in here engaged. It runs off of hydraulic pressure, and that's what this right here starts. That's the solenoid, and once the solenoid is energized, I believe, it directs pressure to all the good stuff in here, and some witchcraft happens, and pressure is made and keeps everything engaged. Once you start getting 450, 500 psi, probably even 520, it gets kind of spooky. It'll work when cold, but after 15, 20 minutes worth of driving or whatever, it drops out of overdrive, and you basically have a 4-speed vehicle, which sucks. Doing 60 miles an hour at 3,000 RPM sucks. It can handle it, obviously, but I don't like to do it. So that's why I did this. I figured, well, while that thing's out, I might as well go ahead and pull this too. So basically, on the video that I did prior to this one, that I scrapped, I had to access these 3 ports right here. This right here is where a filter goes, which is what that is, right here. This right here is the pump, which is what this is. And this is the relief valve, which is that's also what helps create pressure and what controls the pressure, which is what all this stuff right here is. That's part of the relief valve, that's the spring, etc., etc. This right here is off the pump and whatnot. That's what that little ball bearing right there is for. It helps all that return. I think they call that like the return ball, return spring, or something like that. But in any event, I still need to get this out. There's a little piece in there you can kind of see a little bit, and then I need to get that body out of here, and that might be a little bit of a that is probably going to give me some trouble. This right here I could probably get out whenever I undo these nuts right here. Once I undo these nuts, this hydraulic side of it right here will come off, and I'll be able to access everything else in the spec. So basically, to access these, you have to take off this right here. This here's the access, the service door, I guess, for lack of a better term. And it sits on here. Got this thing backwards. It sits on here like that. That's how it sits on here. You've got some bolts, which is what these go to. Those are 11 millimeter. And you undo that, and then you come across these things right here. These little access doors. Right here. All of them have the 2 pins in them, so you need a specialized tool to be able to get to them. Well, chances of finding that tool nowadays are probably slim to none. So you got to make your own, which is exactly what I did. I'm no master fabricator. My little welders right there, over there on my little table, are very, very cheap. Actually, one of them's not even mine, but anyway, you know, good old coffee. So, like I mentioned, I made those. I made this tool right here. It's ugly, of course. You can see it. Ugly welds. Yeah, I know. But you know, I wasn't looking for anything pretty. I was looking for something that worked, and it worked. And so you make this spanner wrench wannabe thing, or whatever the crap you want to call it, and it fits. Oops, it fits inside these pins like that. I made one previously, but my tools got stolen a couple of years ago, and so my little homemade spanner wrench thingamajig was actually looked a lot nicer than that one. Got jacked as well. So there's that. So that's how you get to all that and whatnot. And so now I got to figure out how to get this out, which is probably vacuumed in there due to pressure and the fluid and stuff like that. So I got to figure out how to get out that. I'm pretty sure I can get this out whenever I undo this, because this right here will be able to come on out, which is being stopped right now probably by the surface back here. So I got to figure that out. So I'm going to see if I can figure this out, and we'll go from there. I do have a smaller tripod. It's in the house, but this right here may have to work. You know, so anyway, let me see if I can figure out how to get this out. It's been so long since I worked with this thing, I can't really remember that much about it. It's been probably a good 2 years. It's moving. I might be able to go ahead and get it on out. Hard to say. Got some oil in there. Maybe a rag. There we go. I do have a rebuild kit for this, by the way. I got the rebuild kit from, I think it was IDP or IPD. I always get them mixed up. That's what those green things, that's what those green seals are right there. And that's what all those seals are and stuff right there for. All this right here is stuff I'm going to be doing to the Volvo very soon. But I'm getting my transmission out the way first, because that's the whole reason why I got this thing apart and not drivable right now. Got to get that fixed. So, anyway, back to what I was trying to do here before I got sidetracked. I get sidetracked easy, you know. Ain't gonna work. That one's closer. You don't want to scar up that inside though, because there is a seal that rides in there. So you got to be careful when you take it out. That's what that right there is. Got to be careful when you take that out. All that good stuff. So I got it out. Ta-da! So all I did to do that was I took a socket. It's a 17, and I put the towel around it to take up a little bit of extra space. That's a perfect fit right there. I mean, there's barely any wobble there, barely any. So I just took that towel, put it over that, kind of jammed it up in there just a little bit, and I gave it a good pull right on out, perfectly. So we got that done. So let's get to forgot about that. I don't have anything to take that off, at least just yet. I have to figure that out. So 1 inch even. Thought I had one. Well, I don't really have a 1 inch 100% for that right there, but I'll tell you what I do have: an adjustable wrench and an angle grinder. So if this opens up to just a little over an inch, that'd be great. Oh yeah, 1.3, perfect. I'll grind this thing down. Yeah, that's way too big. And so, how much do I need to take off of there? About 300 thou. It's the width of that's flat, roughly. And these are, that's 5.565. So let me do that, check back in a minute. So got that made up. It's ugly, but it did work. Then we get this off. Little glove here, it's kind of dirty. And that rebuild kit does have the O-rings for this as well. So I just kind of set it out the way in a safe place so it won't get jacked up or anything of the sort. It doesn't have to be cleaned up and whatnot. Same thing for the washer. So keep those together. Like so. So now I got that apart. Also, while I was taking that out, I gave it a go. I gave this a go whack with my hammer to get the solenoid off. Part of the pump right here also came out, which is what I wanted. So that works out as well. Good. That being said, I think we can start taking the hydraulic side off and seeing what we've got. I need to undo. I got a GoPro here, so can't zoom or anything. I'll do my best to get it, but I need to undo these nuts right here, there, up here, over here, and there. Get the bars off. Once I do that, those pistons behind here will come on out, and then I should be able to undo the rest of the nuts and stuff like that to be able to get that out. So let's get to that, shall we? I need to find my 11 mil. And I'm not sure where it's at. I thought I left it out, but I guess I didn't, because there it is. It was right where it was supposed to be, in my toolbox. So let's see if we can get these undone. I need that extension. Be able to clear the studs from where I'm at. Studs right here that these nuts are on goes into another part down here, and all these studs do, all those studs do is just come through. They got splines on it to keep it from turning as I turn these nuts right here. And so one concern of mine is that one day I'm going to be doing this and one of the damn things strip. So far that hasn't happened. So take these off. A lot of oil and stuff here. All right. That comes right on off. I have to clean those up. This thing's been out of the car so long it's rusted. I have to run my little wheel over them that I've got right here for my Dremel. Had to clean it right on up. Nothing to it. There's a piston. I'm going to set the piston on these bars. Move some stuff out the way. Like that. Head and bloated. Not much sealing there. Not the kind of flat. Which is interesting. They're not supposed to be flat. Oh, that looks good. Alright, let's start taking these right here off. 13 that way. Beautiful. Alright, let's get to it. This wire right here, I'm sure as you can tell, obviously is a ground wire. So I'm going to keep those together right there in my drawer. There's that one, and this one. Thinking about tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. These top two studs have plastic on them that they call sealing, or whatever the heck you want to call it, sealing washers. It's plastic. And this right here is in there, so I'm going to have some fun getting it out. And you can see it. Oh, that one's out. That's good. See? These are one-time use. So if you don't have them, or they're supposed to be one-time use. If you don't have them after you take this thing apart, I recommend you get them. Because they're supposedly one-time use. And with something like this, I don't want to chance it. I don't want to chance reusing it. It's the same thing for my gaskets and stuff like that. I'm going to clean all that off. Make it look good and everything. I should probably do this little bit by little bit. There being tension on there. I mean, if it's already loose or whatever, like this one is, so be it. But keep an eye on it, because you don't want to torque them one way too far. To be honest with you, this is like I haven't mentioned it in this one, but I have rebuilt this thing before, and it still didn't work. And if anything, the pressure was worse. It was making like 250 to 300, and I mean, looking at these things right here, I mean, that's probably the reason why. It looks like to me these O-rings on these pistons are actually lower than they need to be, so I may have used the wrong size O-rings on that, and that could have been the reason why it jacked up on me. So, anyway, get that old gasket out of there for the filter. Throw it away because I got new ones for that too. Okay, I see the springs. We'll have to measure all that. Let's see what we got. I think all of them's off. I don't see any more. We'll know in a second. Gently turn it. Am I missing anything? No. So we'll just a little tap here and there. Probably part of the reason why it's wanting to act up because it's this plastic right here. Like I mentioned, you got these plastic little washer things right here, and it looks like this one right here is kind of in the stud hole, the bore, whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of catching on these studs back here. It's catching on threads. It's kind of making it hard to come out. I think all the tension's off of it, which is good. Looks like it's trying to take it with it. Probably going to go back in. No, I got to take it on past. Try to. Yeah, it is trying to take it. I'm going to have to take my little propane torch and melt it just a little bit to kind of soften it up and get it on through. Because that's going to be a pain. God, that's going to be a pain. It's really interesting it did that. I don't have a way to really get it back out. It's pretty much in there. Let me see if I can tap it back through. So I got it. Yep, I was right. That plastic had done worked its way on there, so I need to take care of that, get that off. That should be relatively easy. Probably the least of my worries at this point. And so, all this looks good. I need to measure my spring lengths, if at all possible. This is, if I'm not mistaken, what it actually does, that's basically it. I just tapped it all out. This portion is out, is good. This is the hydraulic side. Got some rust on it. I have to fix that. Have to get all this old gasket off of here. It may come off relatively easy. It looks like it might. Hard to say. But forgot about that. Plastic. Here it comes. Got it. There we go. I have to get all that cleaned up, get the rust off of it the best I can without taking any material off. That's going to be fun. Oops, sorry. Keep on kicking my tripod. I'm sorry about that, y'all. So, that's basically how it's done. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it. All that still looks good. I have to measure my things, like I said, for the third time. Clean up my surfaces and whatnot. Still got some junk in there. Cool. Glad to see this thing finally apart. This right here is the last piece to the puzzle when it comes to my transmission. After I get this off, well, not off, but fixed. Get it all the seals and stuff like that redone. Should be good to go. So anyway, I want to refer to, there's actually, in all that paperwork right there that I mentioned earlier, is specifications, if I'm not mistaken, best I can remember. And so, angle this up a little bit. There you go. So these need to be a certain length, which, if I'm not mistaken, was a little bit on the underside whenever I took this thing apart, which is why I put those washers on there. So, see, it spins good. It spins real nice. So here it is. And all those, yep, there's the instructions and stuff like that. The majority of this I am going to be using. This I will not be using. That oil seal is one that I replaced last time I rebuilt this thing, and it's still good. It's not leaking, so there's no point in me taking that off. It was a pain to take off anyway. It took so much force to get that propeller off of there. So let's see if I can find the dimensions for the spring, and maybe in my book over there too. I'm not sure. Keep all this stuff together, if at all possible. Let's see if it tells me anything about springs. Now here, got torque specs. Right here. Got torque specs, transmission fluid type, the different crap, I keep on having brain farts. Different relief valve styles and all that good stuff. There's that relief valve tool that I told you about right there. I don't see anything. It may not have been in here. Okay, so let's refer to my Haynes manual about the spring lengths. Overhaul. Yep. Check condition of the clutch springs. Right here. They need to be anywhere from, you got nominal 2 inches, 185 thou. You got plus or minus 59 thou on that, which is actually quite a bit, to be honest with you. That's pretty freaking long. So let's check one, see what we got. So we said 2 inches, 185 thou. Make sure your feet are clean, all that good stuff. There's only so much you can do about the surface of these. Inches, 185 thou, plus or minus 59, 2.116. So let me do some math here. Hang on, let me grab my phone. Turn on right here. So we said it's 2 inches, 185 thou, 2.185. You got minus 59 thou. It's under. Minus 0.059. 2.126. So yes, it is under. Which is the reason why I put those springs on there. I mean, not the springs, but the washers on there to make up that difference.